Hello, welcome to Rando Tech Info and our latest solar test to see if solar-powered smartwatches work and if they work well enough to be useful. And the featured subject of our test is the Garmin Instinct 2 Solar. This watch was chosen because Garmin is a known and respected brand in the smartwatch market, and because you can pick up the Solar 2 right now on the Zon for around $300, which is affordable when compared to other solar-powered smartwatches, and we aren't made of money.
Good point.
The watch has a shiny metallic bezel around the watch face that pulls in all of the solar energy goodness. Now obviously this is not a very large area for pulling in power, but the watch doesn't use a lot of power either. On days with moderate usage and no solar charging, the watch only dropped about 8 to 10%, which is pretty sweet, especially when compared to the watches I normally wear, like the Pixel Watch 2 and the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, which normally get me around 1 to 2 days of battery life from a full charge. So the testing of this watch was carried out in 2 phases. First, I just put the watch on and went about my business to see how well the watch charged during normal daily use. This included eating a few meals outside, going on a few walks, driving around with my arm out the window, and cutting the grass. You know, a normal person doing normal outside person stuff. Then we strapped the watch to a stand, stuck it outside, and faced it toward the sun to simulate optimal charging conditions. And here is what we learned. The normal person doing normal outside stuff didn't produce much of a result. For example, I spent an hour and a half driving around one day with my arm out the window and saw no increase in battery percentage. On another day, I took a 2-hour-long walk in the midday sun and saw no increase. And finally, on another day, I ate breakfast at an outdoor cafe, spending 60 minutes in the morning sun, also without an increase in charge. In fact, after doing several activities over the course of a week and a half, I never actually saw the watch's battery percentage tick up. Now, just because we didn't see a rise in battery percentage doesn't mean the watch wasn't actually picking up any charge. The watch actually has a pretty nifty graph you can use to track the solar energy it receives, and clearly it was getting some charge. So why didn't we ever see an increase in battery? I think it's important to remember that even when the watch was picking up some solar charge, the watch was still draining power. Garmin smartwatches are known for their health and fitness tracking, and this watch was constantly monitoring my biometrics, and during my 2-hour walk it was actually running an exercise tracking routine, so it was tracking even more closely than normal, which obviously consumes more power. So it might be that the solar energy the watch was picking up was simply slowing down the watch's normal power drain, which can still extend overall battery life, but it's difficult to say by how much. So this leads us to test phase number 2, which consisted of setting the watch outside and facing the watch toward the Midwest US summer sun to see if we could get any kind of a noticeable increase in power, and what do you know? After setting the watch outside for 35 minutes with a UV index of 9, the watch went from 19 to 20% charge, and another 4 hours of sunning got the watch up to 28%. So in total it was able to pull off a 9% charge in around 4.5 hours. This may seem like a pretty strong result, but you have to remember the smartwatch wasn't doing any smartwatchy things during its charge time, and the watch face was constantly facing the sun. So definitely not real-world conditions.
That's fair.
So circling back around to the beginning of this video, we set out to answer 2 questions, to see if solar-powered smartwatches really work and to see if they work well enough to be useful. Well, the answer to question 1 is actually really easy. Yeah, they work. The answer to question 2 is a little more complicated. If your motivation for picking up a solar-powered smartwatch is to have a smartwatch you never have to put on a charger, then the solar smartwatch experience will probably leave you a bit disappointed. Even with some of the health monitoring features turned off, and even if you spend a lot of time outdoors, I think you would have a hard time keeping this watch from losing charge, especially since not all days are sunny and there's, you know, night.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
However, I don't think that makes the solar charging functionality completely useless, at least for some people. If you do spend a lot of time outdoors and you live somewhere with a lot of sunny days, I do think you will probably be able to notice some benefit. Possibly taking a watch like this from around 13 days of battery life to around 15 days of battery life, or possibly even more, depending on your watch usage and weather conditions. Are those few days of extra battery with spending a little extra cash on some solar charging capabilities? Well, my friend, the answer to that question is really up to you. And since I am leaving that question up to you, feel free to share your answer to that question down in the comments. That way we can all continue to learn from each other and make more informed buying decisions. As always, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, and until next time, this is Rando Tech Info, signing out.